Alright guys, welcome back to another Big Al's Big Workout video. First of all, I hope that you've had a very good Christmas, a real nice break, and that I hope that you will have a very happy new year as well in the upcoming new year. And really, talking about that, this is really what this workout video is about. I've just put some random footage in the background. These are just from a couple of my workouts from the past few months. But really, this video is about a discussion of what I've achieved this year, the sort of weight gain I've put on, the kind of best lifts that I've achieved, and how far I've come over the year, and as a result, where I want to go in the next year. So this video is quite important for me because it's where I sort of look back and I see what I've achieved and what I want to continue to achieve or maintain or progress in the upcoming year. So really the first and most easiest sort of thing to sort of quantify, of course, is body weight. Body weight and body weight gain is something obviously quite important to myself, being primarily, I suppose, a weightlifter more than anything else. And at the beginning of the year, January the 3rd to be precise, of 2019, I weighed in at 17 stone and 10 pounds, basically the same sort of condition I am at the moment, if not in slightly worse condition. Okay, but I would say basically the same sort of condition. So we can make a direct comparison. Today, it's the 29th of December. I'm currently recording this, and I am now 19 stone 12 pounds. So a huge gain this year. I've made a absolutely huge weight gain this year of 2 stone and 2 pounds. Which is basically 30 pounds. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of weight to gain, and it was quite surprising actually. I have in the past gained similar weight gains before. I think I'm going through a bit of a sort of natural sort of growth phase, I suppose, more than anything. But typically I average about a stone a year, so it's actually a lot bigger than what I would normally have put on. It was real good. And it was especially quite good as well because even though I've done a full cycle of training this year, that is to say that I've done my light phase for roughly 3 months, a medium phase for 3 months, my heavy phase for 3 months. At the end, during my heavy phase, I didn't do exclusively heavy phase workouts. I did on the weights, but basically in November this year, I was in an MMA fight for charity, for Ultra MMA, and so as a result, I was doing a lot of preparation for the fight, doing a lot of cardio down the down the martial arts gym and stuff like this, and so basically I was sore every day, so I couldn't quite go for like 1 rep maxes or anything like that during my heavy phase, and obviously my body wasn't resting as much as it normally would, and put on top of that, I did get a chest infection for the last part of the year. Just before the fight I picked it up, and so you could say that perhaps hindered me a little bit, but to be honest, I came back, even though I was not consistent towards the end of the year with my training, I came back stronger than ever because I looked after my body, and I think really that's the key to my progress this year. I've been very good with my diet. I've been taking more supplements than normal. And I'm not hugely into supplements, but I've been taking a lot more sort of maltodextrin and carbohydrate sort of mixes to make sure that basically I'm feeding my body what it needs. I'm not a big eater, believe it or not. I know looking at me there, especially from a side angle, it doesn't look like it, but I really am not a big eater. And I actually eat quite high quality food as well. It's not, so I eat fairly small amounts of pretty low fat foods and low calorie foods, but for some reason I'm still able to maintain my body weight. But this year I have actually fed it with good quality sources of carbohydrates, and as you can see, my body's responded. And of course it's responded not just with the weight gains either. Obviously, if I put on all that weight and not got any stronger, then of course that'd be perhaps a little bit of a problem. But my strength's gone up quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure what I was doing at the beginning of the year for most of these lifts, but I can certainly tell you what I'm doing at the moment. So let's start with bench press, everyone's favourite, right? Everyone does bench press. Not everyone does squats. Everyone skips leg day, as a joke goes, but everyone certainly does. Every man and his dog does bench press, certainly as the summer comes along for those summer bods, right? So on bench press, what have I done this year? Well, I always have a little target for myself. It's a long-term target that I've been doing for the last sort of 2.5, 3 years. That is basically how many reps can I get on 100 kilos, that's 220 pounds, in a single set. Just literally just go for it, complete blast out. You know, when the first time I did it, I got about 20 reps a couple of years ago, and it gradually went up. Beginning of the year, I think it was 26 reps on 100 kilos, and this year, during my light phase, I managed to achieve 34 reps on 100 kilos. Now that may change because I might actually go and try it tomorrow. I'm kind of talking myself into trying it out, maybe tomorrow. Although I did bench press a couple of days ago, so it's probably not best to do it so soon. But I really want to see if I can beat that 34 reps. It's something that I'm definitely capable of because my strength definitely 100% has gone up. As shown when I've been doing a lot of repage and work on 120 kilos, which is about 265 pounds. I've been doing that a lot recently. My working weight now is not 100 kilos, it's more like around 120 kilos. And I'm sort of doing anywhere between 12 and 14 reps. 14 reps is what I can do. 14 reps is what I've done several times. But obviously you don't always go full out every time, especially when you don't have a spot. And I've also, been repping a little bit on 140 as well, sort of sets of 3 and 4, nothing too much, but I've been trying to work my body, getting up there. Now, I haven't gone for 1 rep max this year on my bench press, partly because obviously, as I say, I was doing MMA in November, so I wasn't able to prepare my chest in the same way that I would normally like to, especially when you're doing push-ups, like at least 100 to 200 push-ups a workout and stuff like that. So it was just not it was a no-go basically, especially when you're doing that 2-3 times a week on top of your weight training. It was something that my body was not capable of really going for. But realistically, looking at the lifts that I have been doing, sort of, as I say, 4 reps on 140, that kind of thing, and knowing what I am capable of, I'm probably around the 160 kilogram mark at the moment for a single rep, which is about 355 pounds. Obviously, my PB is 180 kilograms, so it's a little of that down on my PB, but that PB was done a few years ago before I tore my chest. In fact, I tore my chest doing it. I did 2 reps on 180, and on the second rep, I tore my chest, unfortunately. So, bench press is something that I never push too hard for obvious reasons, because I try to look after that old injury that I've got on my pec. Deadlift. Right, deadlift is another favourite of most people's. Deadlift for me has never really been a favourite lift for me because I've always been all over the place with it. I've never really fulfilled my potential or strength on it. Although this year, at last, I seem to have finally worked it all out. I've worked out my style, and my style is ugly. Okay, I do not lift the deadlift in a pretty way whatsoever. It would count in powerlifting, absolutely. I don't use straps. I rarely use chalk, but obviously I do sometimes for certainly the bigger lifts, and I will use a belt, but I don't use a suit. But my style is, although as I say, legal in regards to the strict rule set of powerlifting, it's still ugly, and that's basically I stiff-legged deadlift the bar up. I don't really use my legs, which is strange seeing when I've got strong legs. I've got really big legs. I'll go over the measurements later, but I've got 32-inch legs, so my legs are bigger than some people's waists, and they are strong with it as well. But for some reason, I just seem to be incapable in my style in using them. I feel much more comfortable just lifting it with my back. It's not the best for potential injuries and stuff, but you know what? Since I've adopted it, I've actually made great progress, and I've not hurt my back or my knees or anything like that at all. So it works for me. Now, at the beginning of this year, as I say, I was all over the place. I could definitely almost always do 180 kilos, but even 180 kilos, 300, which is 400 pounds. Even that was sometimes I would go on there and fail it. I really was not that great at deadlift at the beginning of the year. And my PB may have been around about 220 kilograms, I think it was. Yeah, it was 220 kilograms, which is 485 pounds, I think it is. But even that was, that was very, very iffy. It was not something I could definitely get or anything along those lines. But this year, I've done 170 kilos for a set of 14. Again, not great, but that was at the beginning of the year before I started to make progress. But my PB for 1 rep max has gone significantly up from, as I say, a reliable 180 to a reliable, well, a very reliable 250, but actually a reliable 270 kilogram lift, which is about 600 pounds. So, that is a huge increase to go from about a 90 kilogram increase, basically 200 pounds. I've gone up a hell of a lot this year, and I've even made an attempt at 290 kilograms and got very, very close to it. I just couldn't fully lock out, so it was a no lift in the end. And I've only tried that once. I'd imagine if I tried it, maybe that's what I'll do instead of bench press tomorrow. Maybe I'll try and get a new PB on a deadlift. So watch this mark, so to speak. It may go up. But yeah, 270 is what I can reliably do at the moment on deadlift. And as I say, that's no straps, that's no suit, just a little bit of chalk and a belt. Now, where I am good and have always been good at is partial deadlift. It's not an actual lift. I get that, guys, right? I'm not trying to say that I'm, very high quality, in deadlift competitions and stuff. A partial deadlift is not something that's done on a competitive level, but it is still something that I enjoy doing, and it's something that gets your body used to handling heavier weights. And my partial deadlift I do from just below the knee. So the bar starts just below the knee, rather than, sort of just above the sort of lower part of the shin, essentially, where it would be on the ground. So you get a few inches advantage, you don't have to do those first few inches off the ground. And my partial deadlift, I've managed to do 400 kilograms for 2 reps. And yes, I did use straps during that. It's a little heavy to hold on to. So 400 kilos for 2 reps shows that my upper back is very strong. So once I start getting my lower back, which has been injured a lot in the past, hence why I've always been a bit sort of iffy on deadlift. But if I can get my lower back up to the same sort of degree, or even 3/4 of the way of my strength on my upper back, then we could really go somewhere. And that's really what I see for the future. Once my sort of strength goes up with this new style of deadlift that I've just been sort of going for, as I say, if even though I get 3/4 of the way, that's 300 kilos, which I'm basically doing. So it's not really too far to think that, my lower back will start matching my upper back strength, and I'll be pushing towards those 400 kilogram marks at one point in time. But I would be very happy with about 320 kilograms next year. At the end of next year, I'm going to be pulling 320 off the a proper lift for deadlift, then I would be very happy with that. My squat. Now, my squat is something that I have been doing even less work than the other two, especially during, well, not at the beginning. I've been squatting very regularly, very consistently, but during my MMA prep, which was approximately 2 months worth, just over about 10 weeks worth of training, I didn't squat at all, really, basically, during that entire time. I did obviously bodyweight squats during my MMA prep and all that, and I did do squats, but I didn't push it. And the reason for this was because my legs were knackered from all the martial arts training, doing a lot of groundwork and takedowns and stuff. Your legs are heavily involved in all of that, so I haven't really prepared my squat in the same degree as the rest, but I've still put a lot of good strength and size on. Before, at the beginning of this year, my PB was 200 kilos, thereabouts, about 200 kilos. And I've always been a weird one, even though 200 kilos was my 1 rep max, and I wouldn't be able to get that all the time. I could do 10 reps on 180 kilograms, so it's a bit of a weird one, right? 20 kilogram difference, 9 rep, increase or whatever. Despite that, I've since then done 12 reps, I think it was on 180 kilograms, which obviously was towards the beginning of the year in my light phase, so before I can make significant progress. But literally 2 days ago I did, and I did it a few days before that as well, so this is something that's very reliable, very easy to do, and I did it without a spot as well, so it shows you my confidence. I did 220 kilograms for 3 reps, so I've put 10% on and I'm tripling it. From 200 kilos to 220, it's 10%, 20 kilos. I've gone up to 220 kilograms, which is 440, 485 pounds, and I'm tripling it now, instead of doing a single rep. So my PB's obviously gone up quite significantly. It's certainly gone up a minimum of 10%, but as I say, for reps rather than a single. So I'm very, very pleased with being able to achieve that, and I can do those 220 for 3 reps without knee wraps. I do use my knee wraps, but the first time I did it without knee wraps. So whereas my 200 I did do with knee wraps before, so my strap's going up and up and up. And obviously, regards sort of the higher repage stuff, I can still do an easy 3 sets of 20 reps on 100 kilos, 220 pounds quite easily. So that's not a problem. And on hack squat, which I think was one of the videos that you've probably seen during the sort of this compilation in the background. I've done 360 kilograms for 6 reps on that. I've always been good at hack squat. You know why? Because it removes the back. Again, as I say, my lower back has been a problem for a long time now, although it's starting to sort of go away. It still has been a problem. So 360 kilos roughly for 6 reps is not too bad. Now, what I want to do with that in the future to improve is the gym that I train at has changed their equipment around quite a bit, and there's a pretty good Smith machine there now, so I might be able to do some more sissy squats, so putting my feet basically completely together, or very, very narrow at least, and very far forwards in front of me, something that you couldn't do obviously without the support of the Smith machine, and squatting a few reps on relatively decent weight on that is something that I used to do at the very beginning of my my training, and it's something that really built up my teardrops on my legs. So that's something potentially along with more hack squat, and obviously just more squat, that I might be able to do to improve my squat in the following year, upcoming year even. Now, this is obviously equated in an increase in size overall also. Now, I've done a measurement video for you guys also. I did it in my normal sort of tongue-in-cheek fashion, I like to have a sense of humour, so I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I'll be doing it like that from now on. I find it quite fun to develop those kind of videos. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it, guys. It's literally 2 minutes long. I do a little pose down and I do my measurements. And I'm not a bodybuilder, so I'm a shit poser, and my measurements are quite funny as well. Anyway, my arm has gone up a full inch in size, so I was roughly about 18 inches, if not just slightly under 18 inches at the beginning of the year. Now I have a 19-inch arm. Now, I always believe, because I grew up around obviously my dad and his friends, and my dad's an ex-powerlifter, so for me, you've got a small arm until you don't have a big arm until you hit 20 inches. So I've still got a small arm in my mind. I'm about an inch away to having a decent sized arm. So let's hopefully push that. I'd like to end my weightlifting career, so to speak, on between 22 and 24 inch arms. But 24 inch arms, that's very wishful thinking. 22, yeah, possible. But at the moment, I'm at 19. My forearm, I don't know, I've never measured it before, but my forearm's 16 inches. Don't know what that's like, guys, but anyway, there we go. It's almost as big as my actual upper arm. And my chest has gone up from about 50 inches at the beginning of the year to 51.5 inches. Actually just over 51.5 inches, closer to 52 than 51.5. So, quite a big chest on me now. As I've realised when I now have to get tailor-made suits, which is quite annoying because they're more expensive than your off-the-counter ones. Now, my neck, I measured, previously it was around 19 inches, it's now 20.5 inches. Again, as I realised when I went to put my shirt on for my MMA fight after the fight, and I couldn't close the collar at all. My neck's got quite big recently. My waist is about the same as what it was. I think it used to be about 42 inches. It's now about 44 inches. So it's gone up a little bit, but whatever. I've got 32-inch legs, as I say. So, which is what they were roughly at the beginning of the year. So my legs haven't really increased in size, but everywhere else has. So pretty decent, including the waist. Now, what are my hopes for next year? Well, body weight wise, I would love to put on another 2 stone. I think that would be fantastic. It was hard during sort of the end part of the year, around November, December, until recently where I've started to sort of get used to the body weight. But around November, I was, mostly because I had a chest infection, but also because of the significant amount of weight that I was carrying. It was just, my body just couldn't get used to the new body weight. It was hard, but I would like to put on at least another stone, but 1.5 to 2 more preferable, because that would be great, to get through. I mean, I'm basically at the 20 stone boundary at the moment. To be pushing towards 22 stone would be fantastic. That would be brilliant. Is it likely? Probably not, but I maybe. We'll see where we go. It's too early on to say where my body weight's going to be lying next year, but if I can put on a good stone, that would be more than an achievement. I've gone over the lifts already, bench press. Well, I want to be going for my 180 again. I must admit, I would love to be able to do 180 again, but I've got that kind of mental block there. I'm a little afraid to be doing it, if I'm honest with you. Deadlift, I want to be well over 300 kilos. If I could be pushing towards 320, brilliant. If not more, fantastic. And my squats, well, it's a little hard to say where I am at the moment, but if I can be doing, maybe 250 by the end of the year, wow, that would be fantastic. So 550 pounds, yeah. Now, regards the sort of accessory stuff, so the stuff that no real weightlifter or powerlifter really likes to do, and that is of course conditioning, fitness and stretching. Well, I've really gone into my stretching recently. I've always loved sumo wrestling, guys. I absolutely always loved it, but I've recently found on YouTube channels that actually show the fights, the bouts between them, and it's really inspired me, especially with my MMA fighting, learning my weaknesses, that I don't really know how to do takedowns. I'm a striker, and I don't really know how to do takedowns without using brute strength, even though I did a good takedown during the fight. But you know what I mean? I don't have the technique for groundwork and all that kind of stuff. Well, my interest in sumo as a result has gone up quite considerably, and I will be pursuing doing that as a sort of additional extra part of my training, a little bit of sumo, at least amongst friends. But I've actually contacted the organisation in England that does it. It's very small, and it appears that there's no training facilities in Birmingham. But if I can do it, especially at even a competitive level, then fantastic. So as a result, because my real spurred interest in sumo, and of course my MMA as well, stretching has become something of a forefront. I've been doing it every night since for the last month now. So I'm stretching. I can almost do the splits now. When I can, I'll show you guys. Fitness and conditioning does need improving. It's okay, but it does need improving. So that's something I'm going to be working on, not just during my light phase like I normally do, but all year round. I'm not going to let myself lose it by the end of the year. I always get it quite early on in the year really well. My fitness does come back quite quickly every year, and as I say, I do about 3 months of fitness a year at the beginning of the year normally. Well, beginning of my cycle, whenever that is, which just happens to be the beginning of the year. But I really don't know where I'm going to. I really don't want to lose that over by the time I hit my heavy phase, sort of towards the end of the year. So definitely going to try and keep better condition and a higher level of fitness. And really, guys, that summarises my training for the year. I will be doing some proper training videos for you soon, in my my new sort of newfound style with music and all the rest of it. And I hope that you like what you see, you enjoy watching them, and I'll be doing some advice videos, and I've really sort of picked it up a lot with my editing now, so I'm able to do better style videos for you guys, but this is my old-fashioned style of just talking at you and hoping that you listen, but with a little bit of visual stimulus for you to look at rather than my ugly mug. Anyway, guys, I'll see you soon, and thank you for watching, and as I say, have a great new year. Thank you. Bye bye.